You made that incredible first album for Apple when you were 19, and it had Something in the Way She Moves, it had Carolina in My Mind, it had Rainy Day Man, and you must have felt like, I've made it, I'm here with the Beatles, I'm in London. When that album did not hit, and when you found yourself out of a deal, did you feel like, now I got to go back to school, I had my chance and it's over?
Well, no, I knew I wasn't going back to school because I'd spent my college dough. I'd spent it mostly on psychiatric hospitals, on McLean Hospital, which I recommend wholeheartedly, in Belmont, Massachusetts, just outside of Cambridge. I think it's like the MGH Psychiatric Hospital, so it's a good one, but it's expensive. And even in those days, it pretty much, in a year's time, it ate up an entire college education worth of dough. So I wasn't going back to school, but I had, I'd been a sort of serious, committed musician for the year that I spent here, 66 to 67, here in Manhattan.
In this neighborhood?
It might have been in this neighborhood, some of it, yeah. How far from here is MacDougal and 3rd?
Just over there.
Is it really?
We could run over there and be back.
You mean 6th Avenue is just over there?
Yes, I mean, we go down Bleecker Street, we hit Washington Square, we hit 6th Avenue.
Yep, that's it.
You're home.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time I had some friends whose parents taught at NYU, and I think they were quartered somewhere around this neighborhood.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it was
no
great.
doubt about it. But you were committed to music at that point.
Right. So you were asking what had happened after sort of signing to the Beatles, and how exciting that was, and getting an album out, and then seeing it do sort of well critically, but sort of modestly in sales. But I had no idea I knew what the Beatles sold, but I didn't have that expectation. So. Record sales was sort of it wasn't really what I was thinking about, and mostly I was thinking about, well, where are we going to make our next record? But,
right.
Yeah. But I had a lot of other things on my mind too when I came back to the States, and Peter Asher called me up and said, Alan Klein has taken over Apple Records, and this place is finished. So we've got to find he said, I propose coming to the States. Once I get myself set up with a job, I'll manage you and produce a second record, and we'll find a label. And so I said, yeah, that sounds good. I called Paul McCartney and asked his opinion of whether he thought Peter would be a good manager, and he allowed us, how he would be,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, they had been roommates, so he was obligated to say that.
Sure. That's right.
And I should say, for anyone who doesn't know, that Peter Asher, Peter and Gordon, was your connection in London, who, just by a stroke of luck, turned out to be the new talent scout at Apple Records. You were just calling him to see if he knew of any pub gigs, right?
I was calling him, I had made a demo tape, encouraged by some friends that I'd met in London, really lovely people, and I was shopping this demo around, and my old partner and fellow musician and bandmate Danny Korchmar, Cooch, he had done a U.S. tour with Peter and Gordon. That was the duo that Peter Asher was first known for. And Peter and Gordon had toured the States. Cooch had been in the band that backed him up. So I had a number for Cooch. I called him up from England. I said, have you got a number for that guy, Peter Asher? He said, I've got a number. I don't know if it still works, but here it is. And so I called him up and I said, Danny gave me your number, and I've got some songs, and I've made a demo, and I wonder if you know anyone I could play it for. And Peter said, yeah, you can play it for me. Come on over. So I did. I went over and I played him the tape, and he gave me guitar, and I played a few other tunes, and he said, let's go over to Apple Records tomorrow and see if we can play this stuff for a Beatle. And that, it was really that,
You said, man, what an easy business.
yeah, it was, yeah, it was.